Hi, my name is Brenda Kent Colina, although I usually go as B, and I am currently based in Ucluelet, Vancouver Island, British Columbia, within Nuu-chah-nulth territories. I do a few different things. I work as a digital storyteller with the nonprofit Friends of Clayoquot Sound. I also teach dance and yoga, and I freelance as an overall multidisciplinary artist. The driving force behind everything I do is to hopefully cultivate some mindfulness within myself and others on how to protect this home of ours, as well as how to live peacefully alongside all the other humans and non-human animals that we share this space with. It feels quite special to be sharing my own personal story when it comes to salmon, as well as the overall natural ecosystem, because I was born in Mexico City. And so for the first part of my life, I did not really have a close relationship to nature. I immigrated at the age of 8 with my parents and my sister, and I remember stepping off the plane in Vancouver and just being completely overwhelmed at the amount of space and greenery that was surrounding me. A big theme in my life growing up was that sense of disconnect and not being quite sure where I fit in. And I remember asking myself a lot growing up, like, how do I take care of my home if I don't really know where home is? But there's a sense of comfort and relief now because I have found many answers by being in nature and by finding those spaces that feel healing and sacred to me. When it comes to salmon, as a young kid, I did not really have an understanding of this species. It was not an animal that I had much contact with aside from whenever I went to eat sushi. And so it was this lifeless, faceless, aesthetically pleasing meal to consume. And that was the extent of it. The first real memory that I have of a live salmon must have been when I went on a school field trip around the age of 10 to a hatchery. During this field trip, our teacher was explaining the life cycle of a salmon. And so it was truly special getting to absorb this knowledge while standing right next to this beautiful species. So that was the first time that it really clicked in me just how powerful salmon are and why they're so important, and just how much I had been overlooking their magnitude for the first portion of my life. Nowadays, I actually don't eat any animal products, and that includes salmon, partially because of my own personal relationship to sentient beings, and partially because I am also deeply concerned with the impacts that mass animal agriculture has on the environment. It's definitely not nice to be reminded of it, but I think it's crucial that we acknowledge that our oceans are currently under immense threat, and that at this rate, we are looking at the possibility of having no more fish in the oceans by 2050. At that point, there may actually be more plastics in the ocean than fish. One's own relationship to salmon is truly a very personal thing, and I believe it's something that only you can explore on your own. For me personally, it was quite an easy choice to take the stance that I do simply because consuming salmon is not related to my livelihood or my culture. It is definitely a multifaceted topic, and so this is simply my own personal story. My biggest hope for salmon in the future is simply to see them thrive and hopefully to live in a world where we don't need to be worrying about them anymore. I would also love to see a world where us humans as a species have learned to build deeper and stronger relationships to nature, as well as other non-human animals, and hopefully build systems that are not primarily based on the commodification of resources. Salmon have so much to teach us simply by the way that they show up on this earth. Their lives are full of purpose, perseverance, and interconnectedness. Their influence reaches extremely far. They may not speak in our language, but that does not mean they have nothing to say. We just need to learn how to listen.